Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday, I think the 24th of August. And I've been asked to make some videos about how to address these violations of equity, which is what we're all in. We're at the bar of equity. That's where everybody is. They are at law at the bar of equity, and we are in law, in equity. Okay? If you know how to establish that, you are in equity, and they are barred from equity, actually. So we're at law and in law meet on the bar of equity. And I have a pile of references here that I want to bring to you all that will hopefully give you a basic comprehension of where you stand in law. There are three things that define you as a flesh and blood man, woman, child. Non-thing, non-res in actions in rem or quasi-rem. So actions in rem are actions against things. Okay, that's why they ask you for your res ident. When you give them a res ident address, you are defining yourself as a thing. That's what you have to look at the words here. This is what attorneys, attorneys, twisters at law do. So by their title, they're telling you they are twisting at law. It means they're twisting under the color of law. That's a term you all should look up, color of law, which means they're not in law. They're kind of in law. They're using the face of law, but they're not in it. They are at it. They are at the house. They're not in the house. So attorneys are at law. They are twisters at law, operating under the look, the color of law, to get you to do one thing. And that is to be compelled by duty to surrender. Duty meaning a duty is something that you look at your obligations and the responsibilities that you have. And also, what are the side effects, the bad parts? I'll give you a better understanding of that later on, because I'm probably going to do a couple videos on this. But they're getting you to willfully, by duty, surrender to their construct, which is not law, which is not our law, which is not your government. It's none of that. We are under occupation. We probably have the longest occupation in the history of the world. We are being occupied by our own people who have been lied to about the law. So I have a pile of books here. There are not too many of them. I'm going to talk about the three basic things that define every woman, man, and child of the flesh and blood. There are three terms: status, standing, and character. Okay, so I'm going to define them for you using Black's Law Dictionary. I have an abridged 6th edition. It's a bicentennial. It's a centennial edition, and includes terms from 1891 to 1991. So this is a great book. I found it at a used bookstore. You can see my books are tabbed to hell, because when I read, I just, these are important things to do. So let's do, I think I said status was the first one. Status by Black's Law is thus: status. Standing. Now, they kind of confuse the two in the legal, but they have two different meanings in law. At law, they may be the same, but in law, one implies more than another. So status is your standing. You're standing in law. State. So your status is your state, your condition of being. You all are foreign states to them. They get you to surrender that. So your standing, or your status, is that you are a foreign state to them. All men are foreign to each other. This is all basic philosophy stuff. States are foreign to each other. Cities are foreign to each other. Constructs, religions are foreign to each other. I am foreign to my brother. We have different states of being. That's what the word state means. The states of the being of me, and all of us together create a new state called a community, create a new state called a town, create a new state called a city, create a new state called a state, create a new state called a nation. These are all different states of being, okay? So your status is your state or condition, your social position. Go read this. The legal relationship of individuals to the rest of the community. So your status is foreign. You are a foreign state to all that you see in common law because you are sui juris. You are a state that is ruled by the nomenon in your heart. You are not compelled in the fourth crown of common law, American common law, to be in agreement forcibly with anybody else's state. They can't even make you be party to another state's constructs. They can't make you be an employee of Xerox any more than they can make you be an employee of the corporate state of X. It is a voluntary process, which they, in their standing, where they stand, have to get you to consent to do by duty. Because the law, their chancery courts, their three crowns of law, the Roman, ecclesiastic, and the monarchical chancery courts, the English common law courts, which are little c, little l, ours are big C, big L. The American common law is big C, big L. British common law is little c, little l, because the king can override everything that the people in chancery did. He could say, nope, it's all dead. I don't care what you say. I don't care what the rules say. I don't care what you've established in law. I don't agree with it. It's done. In our common law, what the people say rules in our dual unanimity in members of 23 with alternate and 12. And those are foundations in the Bible, people. Jesus chose his 12 apostles. Revelation speaks to the anointed elders with the oils of saints, with the golden crowns of the 23, the 22 men in the 23rd seat held for God. So in American common law, there is no override of the will of the people. Okay, that is the distinction between our crown of law and all the other crowns of law. So in our common law crown, the American big C, big L common law, you cannot be made to serve a foreign state, a state foreign to you, against your will. And in equity, you can only be compelled by duty. Okay? So what they've done is they've portrayed themselves, even though they are not, as our government. So we feel a sense of duty to them. And we, with our faith, in the faith that they are our government, which they are not, they are our occupiers in law. In law, they occupy us. Okay. So they get us to think that we are of them, that we are by fraud, by constructive fraud. So that's the totality of the gaming that is being put upon you. Now, as long as they're following the law and they're applying the legislature like they're supposed to, pursuant to Section 4, Article 4 of the Constitution, everything's fine. But they aren't. They haven't been applying the law and the acts of the legislature for a very long time. They create them, but then they're acting like chancery, where, well, we can just ignore the law and we'll do whatever we want to do. That tells you that they are operating in a law foreign to us, because there is no capacity of a judge or an administrator to operate as a king with writs of marque, with edicts that are in violation of the application of the legislature. That's how you know that you're in a foreign jurisdiction, because that administrator is ignoring the law. And that's allowed in where they're at, where they're standing. Okay, so now we're going to go to, let me finish status. So your status is your standing, but it's your state or condition. Now that's in a law book. Now let's do Webster's Unabridged, and we'll look up status. And the word, and because sometimes they adorn them a little bit, and so you want to look at both the, now mind you, Webster, just so you know, Webster was an attorney. Okay, so these are still adorned words in a lot of ways, but he did a better job. But Webster was an attorney. So he was an attorney at law, writing definitions, saying that they're the English, but they really are kind of law too. So, in fact, the old Webster's dictionaries used to have a section in the back called Law for the Layman. If you find them, they're wonderful. And that was as early as the 1960s, or late as the 1960s, that Webster's dictionary would have a section in the back of it called the law of the layman, and they had special terms back there, such as demur, demurrage, all of those things that I talk about. So, status, status, S-T-A-T-U-S. Status, condition or position with regard to law. Notice it didn't say legal here, it said law. Okay, but it's a little L law, so that would imply statutes. So status and statutes kind of sound the same, right? Her status is is that of a married woman. So it's your position, like what you hold, what title, what contracts you are in. So if I were to say that your status is a married woman, it means you're in contract with a man in matrimony. That's a contract, okay? So and in saying that, because you're in contract, you have certain obligations within that contract to fulfill within the community. That is your status in the community, pursuant to your obligations, your fiduciary duties. Your duties as a man or woman in society is your status. And you choose that. You choose to be married. You choose to be party to the Roman civil form. You choose to be party to the fourth canon law, whenever they're not lying to you. Okay, so that's your status. And then it goes even further. Position, rank, standing, as no one can question his status as a color. State. So status is equivalent to your state. What is your state of being? What is your state of mind? What is your state in law? Are you foreign to that state versus another? Okay, so status is your state and how you are viewed in the community in that state. Okay, and it can apply to legal contracts. I am the senator for this. That implies a status that you have a fiduciary duty in the greater community, okay? But it also is a choice. These are all choices. What your state of being is, your status in law, is your choice. If, however, you do not aver it and affirm it openly, verbally, it will be assumed for you. Okay, and that is the point here. You have to learn these terms because if not, they will assume them for you. Pardon me while I have some coffee. Okay, next. Let's go to standing, because they referred back to standing. And anytime you have a definition where it refers back to another word, particularly status equals standing, you need to go look at standing. So you have status, standing. Okay, standing in law is, okay, and there's actually a word for standing in the law book, okay? Not just stand. In the Webster's dictionary, which again, an attorney helped bring this to be, the word standing is not a particular word. It's within there, and we're going to go through that, but it just says stand, and then it goes through stand it, it goes through the prefixes and suffixes, is what they always do. But in law, there's actually a particular specific definition for standing, okay? One's place in the community in the estimation of others, his relative position in social, commercial, or moral relations, his repute, grade, or rank. Okay? See reputation. So your standing is your reputation in the community pursuant to your status. Okay? Standing to sue doctrine. So they're very interconnected, but they are not the same things. They try to tell you they're the same in law because it even says status. Okay, but standing to sue doctrine. Now, let's go to the Webster's Dictionary of standing, okay? And let's see what they have to say about standing. Okay? Sorry, I have this tab, but still, it's a very big book, standing. It won't say standing, it'll just say stand, okay? Now, this is interesting because we both understand that the root derivations refer to stand, to not be crouched, to not be kneeling, to not be in a submissive, subordinate position, to be kneeling. You are upright. You are standing. You are not kneeling, okay? This is important. They're very simple, but it's very important, okay? So, to maintain a special position, attitude, course, or support, to remain in an upright, to take a stand, to take a standing position. So when you aver your status and standing, you are saying, I am this foreign state to you, and this is my moral compass, okay? This is my morality. This is where I stand. Okay? I don't stand under you. I stand under this law. I stand under common law. I do not stand under admiralty law. I do not kneel to your occupation. I do not feel compelled to surrender and kneel to the duty that you are trying to impose on me. I am affirming and standing and holding my position because of morality and my perpetuity and my position and character in the society, my status in the society. I am not standing under your presumptions, your occupation, all these things. That is the standing. Now, the last one is the most important, and that is character. So we've done status, standing, and character. Character is the most important because it is the distinction between our crown and their crown. Now, again, character is an independent term in law. Legal. In a law dictionary, you will see the word character. Okay? Strange. You would see the word character in a law dictionary or legal dictionary. Okay. This is an important one. Character. The aggregate of the moral qualities which belong to and distinguish an individual person. Okay? It's your morality. It's the rules that govern your behavior. Okay, I got to take a break here. Sorry for the interruption. Okay, so now we're going to go to character. So we talked about character being the moral foundations. And this goes to, which I'll talk about later, I'll do another video on demurs, because that is an objection to your scruples and your morality. And so the demur is the defining line when you say to them, I am morally offended because of my status, standing, and character of who I am, that you bring me to say you judge me, because you are not. You are reprobate. You are foreign to me. You do not have my morality. These are the foundations for the plea of demur, where you challenge their jurisdiction over you as a foreign state because of your morality. Because we are in the fourth crown of American common law. The law that was established by Yeshua the day that he was tried. These are the laws that were established the day that he was tried by the Pharisees, from the false proclamations tried by the Romans, by the false proclamations of the Pharisees, who brought false charges against him, even under their law. They were false charges. So this is the law that was established the day that he did what he did with Pontius Pilate. Okay, these are the foundations that we live under. He said, you are not my judge. I have a greater morality than you, and I subscribe to a higher power of morality. He said demur to Pontius Pilate. Okay, so character. Let's keep going. Okay, it says that it's, again, the aggregate of moral qualities which belong to and distinguish an individual person, the general result of one's distinguishing attributes. That moral predisposition or habit or aggregate of ethical qualities which is believed to attach to a person, little p, no capitals, or on the strength of the common opinion and report concerning him. Notice the word common, character. Common law, character. Okay? A person's fixed disposition or tendency as evident to others by his habits of life. Again, you bring forth a jury of your peers of your choosing, the people who have known you your whole life, not a list of people that the state provides from its registered voters. Not the same, guys, not the same. Okay, you're supposed to be judged by your peers, the people who have known you and know your reputation and know your habits of life, why you do what you do, where you come from. And it's through the manifestation of which his general reputation for the possession of a character, good or otherwise, is obtained. The estimate attached to an individual or thing of the community. The estimate, value. It's the moral value of someone. The opinion generally entertained of a person derived from the common report of the people who are acquainted with him. Although character and reputation are often used synonymously, the terms are distinguishable. This is in law, okay? Character is what a man is. What am I? I am a righteous man, walking peacefully on the land in the living flesh. I am affecting the law of my God by the nomenon of righteousness. I harm no others. I disturb no peace. I disturb no public trust. That is your character under the fourth crown of common law. Okay? And because of that, you're supposed to be allowed to sojourn freely without being arrested or robbed or all these things. These are rights, people. If you hold that character, you have the right to move freely, be unarrested, not have your possessions seized, not to have bills of attainder, not to have writs of marque written about you. These are rights based upon your moral and ethical character under the fourth crown of common law, which says we need no kings, no popes, no Caesars to live peaceably or to tell us what to do or to tell us what our rights are or to tell us what God's rights are for us or what God is even. Because that's what they're trying to do. They're telling you what their God is. And that's what they're doing. They're oppressing their God upon you. These reprobate states of men are oppressing their precepts of God as state upon you. Not God in your heart. Not the God. Not the God we live under. That all of us, I don't care what your religion is here in this country. You believe that a God, one supreme power, goddess, God, creator of all things. The creator is what we call him in our General Congress. The creator is the creator of all things. Is dominion over all men, women, things. One. Supreme power. And that's what Yeshua affirmed. He called it his father. But he also spoke of his mother in private with his brother. The God mother. So the character depends on attributes possessed and reputation on attributes which other believe one to possess. So your character is really what you are. Your reputation is what people perceive your character to be. So one is outward. The reputation is what people from the outside perceive about you. And character is what you have exemplified your whole life. So the former which others believe one to possess. The former signifies reality. The later merely what is accepted to be reality. So your character is what is. It just says that. Your character is what is. Your reputation and the things put upon you, what the courts, what the admiralty, foreign agents are trying to put upon you is a reputation that they're trying to impose upon you. It is not a reality. If, however, you don't aver and assert otherwise, it will be presumed a reality. And your reputation, the outward perception, will take over the character. And your character, your reputation that is presented, he's a criminal, he did this, he broke this law. And they sit and they define you whenever they read your pleadings, you know. You broke the law, you ran a stop sign. They're trying to put a reputation upon you as a lawless person, a lawless man, woman, or child. Okay, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to override with their presentment of your reputation to override your true character. So you must aver your status, standing, and character. You must aver, I am a child of God. You are foreign to me. I do not surrender to your judgment of me. All these things. So status, standing, and character. You need to have those precepts of yourself. You need to know who you are. You need to know where your moral and ethical boundaries are. You need to say, my duty is not to you. My duty is to the Republic and the Congress. The Republic of the American people. My duty is not to serve your foreign agent bankruptcy courts. I feel no duty to surrender to your jurisdiction. If you say those words, those are establishing foundations in law, even the law they have to follow. Now, mind you, they're still criminals, and they're still going to try to oppress upon you what they want to and what they're trying to oppress upon you to get you to compel to that duty. But once you say, I am foreign to you, you are not my judge, you are not my administrators, you do not follow my law, my morality, my ethics. I feel no duty to be compelled to satisfy the contracts you're bringing before me. I do not contract with you. And I subscribe to a higher power than you. You're saying the exact same things that Yeshua did. The beauty is they can't hang you like they did him. Hang him by a tree. That's what it's called in the original tongues. He was hung by a tree. He wasn't crucified. He was called hung by a tree. You know, the same thing they did to the blacks. And all the people, the homosexuals, anything that they did to, not just the South, they hung people in the North, people. So this whole thing that the South is this horrible place where, no, they did this to people all over the world. Hitler used crucifixions, but he hung them with ropes from a cross. They're not hung by their neck. They're hung by their hands and their feet. So they're hung from a tree. So when you go into a court, you have to hearken back to what Yeshua did, because his trial is very laid out there and what he did. He went and he challenged that they were not his kings or his judge. He was from a different kingdom. He was a foreign state to them. Okay. And that they didn't have any jurisdiction over him because they didn't even know the name of his father. Again, surname, the proper Christian name in a pleading. These are all things that are foundations in our common law that came from the English common law, but we kind of refined it, okay? And we have special branches of our government that they do not have. We have the legislature, which was granted the powers of kings, okay? The legislature is the power of the king granted to us by the King of England. So the legislature took over the position of king. And you have Rome that had the Senate, but they didn't have a Congress of the people. So it's an evolution of law, and we're to the point where mankind, humankind, womankind, all the kinds of sentient beings must say, I subscribe morally and ethically to this. I do not subscribe to that. I feel a sense of duty to the Republic. I do not feel a sense of duty to the Queen, the Pope, and international bankers. You have to define yourself, your status, standing, and character. And in order to do those things, you have to have a little bit of understanding. You have to, if you don't believe in God, you're going to have a hard time arguing that you're separate from them, because you have to have ethics and morality. So you need to have some sense of, even if you don't believe in a higher God, you have to believe, because they're going to assume if you say, I don't believe in God, then you must believe in being ruled by the state, because that's how they think. So if you don't believe in the Creator, you kind of alienate yourself from our form of law, because we don't say God. It says that we are all created. So the Creator made us equal. So if you don't believe in God, at least clearly you believe in a Creator. Okay. And you have to have a foundation of ethics and morality that you have to avert to. And that is your spirituality, your quote religion. If you don't belong to a church, or religious per se, or if you're Buddhist or Hindu, it doesn't matter. That's why we're free to follow any religious tenets we have here, because we are allowed in this country, the land is the country. In this country, the people are allowed to have variety of different opinions about even who the Creator is, and our moral and ethical standards. The only things you may not do in this country, you may not harm others based upon your beliefs. You may not oppress others with your beliefs, okay? So you may not harm others in any way, shape, or form as you sojourn the land. You may not disturb the public trust when you sojourn the land in your own foreign state, and you may not disturb the public peace. Those are the 3 crimes under the 4th Count of Common Law. Those are the 3. There's 3. That's it. Just 3. Okay? Those 3 laws must be protected. You must follow them. You may believe in any God. You may have any personal, ethical, and moral beliefs. You may express them verbally. Okay? But you can't. But in doing that, you can't. In verbally expressing them, you can't create harm to others, like yelling fire in a theater. That's not free speech, guys. So if in your words you try to invoke harm to others, kill him, everyone jump him, those are not free speech, okay? Free speech is when you say, I believe by my moral and ethics, this, that, and the other thing. You can't convey harm to a person, public peace violations, or public trust violations in your words that are of a unlawful nature. You could say, I believe that you are offending me, and the law does say this. That type of argument is allowed. But saying, I will kill you if you do not do as I say, that is a crime. Okay, those aren't covered by free speech. So the trespasses and torts of those 3 laws is the only thing that govern the law of the land. You may have a moral and ethical compass. You may have a character that is a foreign state to you, and say this, that, or the other thing. And your status and character is defined. And you can go into any judgment. We're even talking about, when you go into, let's say you get in trouble at work, and there's a body of people, or in code enforcement hearings are similar. These are private. Code enforcement hearings are private meetings, people. Those are private jurisdictions. Codes cannot be oppressed upon you. Neither can statutes. You have to agree to be bound to them by duty. Okay, they can't even compel you by fee or fine. And you can, and if they try to, you can say, I have no duty to pay you. I have no contract with you. Your constructs are foreign to me. I do not agree with your oppressions. This is why our crown is so dangerous to them, because to the elite, because they cannot compulsory require you to surrender to them once you have established that you are foreign in status, standing, and character to them. Once you do that, they're done. If they arrest you to compel your surrender or even your attendance to a hearing, that's a constitutional crime. That's coercion. Okay, and once they the minute they step over the coercion, once you aver what you are, because what you've done is you've challenged their jurisdiction over you, your personal jurisdiction. And I'm going to tell you, they will never, ever get personal jurisdiction over me, and they know it. Okay, I promise you, they do not want me in one of their forums in personam, in proper personam, in propria personam. They do not want me walking in or being invited. They don't even want to invite me. They definitely don't want to order me to walk into one of their private jurisdictional forums, because I will tear them apart in law, not at law. I will tear them apart in law. And I will show that even calling me there was a crime. Okay. And then once I do that, I know how to prove that they've committed the crime and bring them to the bar of equity. And that's what we're going to go over next really quickly. So, because the next things I want you all to understand, now that you know status, standing, and character, and I may stop it here and go to the next video so that you can do them one after the other. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the 4 jurisdictions that are allowed in law pursuant to our Constitution. It's in the Constitution. I got this little book for $1 at Target. I highly suggest that everyone, there are places where you can buy these for $1 online, and I think you have to buy like 50. Buy them. Hand them out. Have them in every one of your cars, because the minute you hold this up when you've been pulled over by one of those robber baron cops, okay, for not a violation of any law, you're not disturbing the public peace, you're not traveling dangerously or any of that stuff. The minute you do that, and you say, hey, I'm going to read this out of here. The minute you do that, you've established your status, standing, and character. That's the beauty. That's why when you talk about the Constitution, they freak out, because in just saying the Bible or the Constitution, you have established your status, standing, and character. Okay, so those are, once you do that, they know where you're at, and they will try to get you to change your mind and to change your duty, where you think your duty lies. So does your duty lie with your God, or does your duty lie with your republic, or does your duty lie with the Pope and the Queen and foreign powers? That's really the question here. So status, standing, and character. Research those, understand them, understand your morality. And this is why I talk about the first steps to correcting your standing is understanding your morality, because the greatest aspect of how you are going to challenge them is by your ethics, your morality, your moral code, the people around you, your society. Remember, your character has to do with how you sojourn the land in your regal retinue. That's the definition of a sovereign, people. One who sojourns the land in their regal retinue, which means that you walk the world in royalty, with regalia, with the power of kings and queens, carrying your court with you. That's your heart. Our court, okay? Our court is our temple right here. Not buildings. This is our temple. We are, okay? We are the court without a temple given to the Gentiles, because it's here. The temple is us. Is all of us collect. That's our court. Is the 12 of us. That's our court. We all bring our 12 temples. Get it? We all bring our 12 ethics and morality, and as 12 people or 23, we define, we determine in a jural unanimous society, bringing all of our ethics and all of our morality from all of the spiritual realms, from all over the world, and all of the ethnicities, and all of the disenfranchised, and all of that. We bring it, and we, in jural unanimity, decide collectively, morally, philosophically, what is law and what is not, what is a breach, what is not, what is a latch, what is not. That is the fourth crown of a common law of America, and that is the beauty of what we have divinely created. Even the bad guys, good and bad, however it has come to be, is all divine. So, status, standing, and character. Research it, learn it, understand it. And I'm going to bring forth the next one, and I'll probably do it today, so I'll put out a couple videos for you guys. Namaste. I love you all. Peace be with you. May we all have enough.